Let's bring in former U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Kurt Volker. So the EU president meets with the U.S. president tomorrow. Kurt, what do you expect will come out of it?
Well, I hope that they're able to agree a framework on how to prevent escalatory tariffs and instead reach a deal that both sides are going to think is fair and is good for both of our economies. Right now, I think President Trump has been frustrated that he hasn't felt like he's got that traction yet, and so he keeps threatening more tariffs on Europe. But I hope that van der Leyen comes prepared and that they're able to set out a framework that can take us forward.
I lost my train of thought there for a moment. The president is warning Europe. One of the things he said when he landed there in Scotland, he said, "You've got to get your act together on immigration, or you're not going to have a Europe." Give us your response to that. Your take on that.
Well, you know, that's an extreme way of putting it. A lot of Europeans are concerned about the levels of migration that have occurred in the last 10 years or so. You remember back in 2015, there was a huge scale of migration from Syria and from Africa. There are still large numbers coming in. And this has left communities of people who are new immigrants to Europe who do not have the language, the culture, the shared religion, shared history, and that's created a lot of fissures in societies. And so what President Trump is saying is you got to regulate migration if you're going to preserve what you are as Europe.
But the EU is built around the notion that, you know, if you get into one EU country, migrate into one EU country, you're in all of them, right?
Well, yeah, that's true, but that's a different point. What that means is Europe has internally no passport controls, no borders. You can just drive where you want to go. That is for a great convenience of both business and the citizens of the EU. But that means you have to do a better job of protecting the external border of Europe than they've been doing to date. A lot of this has really fallen to a couple of countries in the south, Greece, Italy, Spain, where people are coming across the Mediterranean, and then they're the ones putting in the effort to try to prevent that. And then the rest of Europe is holding them accountable for policing the border, rather than this being an overall European effort where everybody is trying to police that external border. So I think President Trump has a point. They need to do a better job collectively of making that one external border real.
A couple of the articles I read about his visit there suggested that there were thousands of people on the ground when he landed who wanted to get a glimpse of him. Is that normal for an American president?
Well, I think in the case of President Trump, you know, he is a personality larger than life, and he's going to Scotland where he's been an investor there before, and I'm not at all surprised. People wanted to line up and just get a glimpse. I've seen that before. I think when President Obama traveled, there was a lot of curiosity about him. And even when President Bush went to a Veterans Day celebration or a World War II celebration in the Netherlands, happened to be with him then, we had people lining the streets and waving American flags as he was driving through the small Dutch towns.
All right. Let's talk about NATO. NATO has agreed, after some arm twisting apparently by President Trump, has agreed to increase defense spending and is going to also buy war equipment from the United States and then turn it over, give it to Ukraine. Give us your take on all of that.
Yeah. This is a huge development. I think it's been a little bit underreported or not fully understood the significance of what this is. First off, we went from a target of 2% of GDP on defense during Trump's first term and Biden's term to now 5% target. Countries are going to be spending a lot more money on defense. Second, President Trump has now changed the dynamic here. Instead of American taxpayers paying for aid to Ukraine, this is now other countries buying American weapons and ammunition and providing it to Ukraine. So the U.S. is getting paid back. And third, you remember the Biden administration never authorized any role for NATO in assisting Ukraine. It was believed that this was just somehow too provocative. Putin won't like it. So we never got NATO involved in helping Ukraine. President Trump has flipped that on its head. He's got NATO countries spending the money, buying American weapons and ammunition, NATO coordinating the acquisition and delivery of that, and that opens the door for other potential NATO roles, such as helping Ukraine strategically integrate its air defenses.
Yeah.
So these are big developments that have taken place.
Fair to say, if Russia dominates over Ukraine, NATO in Europe is going to be the one that pays the greatest price. Former U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Kurt Volker. Mr. Ambassador, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.